ready?
Yes.
All right, quick tortilla lesson. Okay, we're gonna make 8 tortillas. Half of it is gonna be 00 or all-purpose flour, regular white flour, so 1 cup of that.
Cup instead of
Yeah.
weight?
If you weigh it, it's 120 grams. And then 1 cup of whole wheat.
You said that's 120 grams?
Yeah.
Goji, your little claws are loud.
A good, let's say, teaspoon of sugar, or I'm sorry, salt. Salt.
Salt.
I was thinking teaspoon, teaspoon of sugar.
Yes.
Just goes together. And about that much oil.
Okay.
That's maybe, I don't know, a tablespoon or so. And then
Our dirty sink, forget it. Don't ignore our dirty sink.
I fill up, the reason why I do it with a measuring cup is because it's going to be almost half the amount of water. So there were 2 cups of flour, it's going to be almost 1 cup of water.
Okay.
And we'll see how much absorbs. So I'll do about half of the water in here and stir. We're making breakfast burritos tonight. So we're going to have like kind of huevos rancheros and some sauteed potatoes and some guacamole and cheese. All right, I stir and stir and stir and try and get the flours mixed as well as I can with the water. But you can see there's a bunch of flour on the bottom that's still really dry. So I put in just a little bit at a time, right into the dry bits. And I'm going to do this until it pulls together into one ball. Okay, so there's still a little bit. You can see that flour right there is not quite coming together, but it only needs a teeny bit of water. If you make this too wet, they're really hard to roll out. Okay, so once it does this, where it comes away from the bowl, you're done. So take this out. It's not very sticky. It's a little bit tacky, but in a couple of minutes it'll absorb some more of this water as well. And I put down some flour. And I knead it for about a minute. Not so much because it needs to be kneaded, but just because I want it to be well mixed and incorporated and smooth.
I love it when you knead dough.
Okay. And then I wrap it up in plastic. And I let it sit for at least a half an hour. And then I roll it out and I cook them in a pan. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna roll out the tortillas and we're gonna cook them. I use a crepe pan because I like not having a border on the side, but if you don't have one, you can use any kind of big pan. So I get that heated up on high heat. Take my dough out of the plastic and I cut it into 8 pieces. So I cut it in half again, and then each one of these I cut in half. Okay, then with a little bit of flour on the surface, I roll it into a ball and I squish it with the palm of my hand on both sides so it gets well floured. And then what you want to do is roll it, turn it, and then I'm not pushing down on it, I'm kind of pushing like this or like this because I'm stretching it. So I hold it on one side and I'm pulling it towards me to really stretch it out. Okay? And once it gets nice and thin, I drop it in the pan. And I cook it for 10 seconds on one side. And I do this while I start the next tortilla over here. Okay, then I give it a flip. And while that's cooking, I do the next one. Now, as I start making these and the pan gets hotter, it does this faster, so you have to either be quicker or turn the heat down. All right, once it starts to get a little bit brown like this, I flip it again. And then with a spatula, as it starts to lift up, I just push it down a little bit to get the air to move all the way through it. Okay? All right, now it's done. And let me grab a plate.
We're not very organized here.
Oh, I don't have a...
Should have thought of that before.
All right, so these go on a plate like this, and I stack them, and then at the very end, when I have 8 of them, then I flip them over, and the heat of the bottom one sort of steams through it, and it keeps them soft. Either that, or you can put like a wet towel that you've strung out, so it's just a little bit damp on top of it, just to keep them from getting crisp. Since there's no fat in these, other than that little bit of oil, like there's no lard or anything like ones that you would buy in the store, they get kind of stiff quick. Right, so you can see now that the pan's getting hotter, it's cooking it faster. Now this is the same recipe and method for roti, Indian roti or chapati. Usually for those you would use what's called atta flour, which you can't find here, but it's pretty much like a whole wheat, durum wheat flour. And doing this combo of half and half is pretty much the same. The only difference when I make those is that I'll have ghee outside, so that once I do this last flip, what I'll do is I'll take tongs, and instead of flipping it on here, I'll take it off and I'll put it right on the flame so that it gets these nice char marks. And then when it's on the plate there, I'll put a little pat of ghee on top and let it melt into it.
That's when
we make Indian food, yeah.
Yeah, that's when we, not for regular flour tortillas. Okay. Thanks, honey.
Sure.